To introduce you to the new MethodWorks fishing bag. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I did to modify this bag for saltwater applications. Probably the most important thing that I needed for this bag was to add some drainage holes to it. I went ahead and did that, and I'm going to show you in this video how I did that, what materials to use. It's a very simple process. Plug tube holders, and they don't have anything for this size of a bag, so I custom 3D printed it. And I'm going to show you step by step how to do that, and also the simple design I used that you could use yourself to be able to make any size you want, any configuration you want, and be able to fit your bag if you wanted to make one. And then we're going to add some storage bins to this, 3D print those as well. And lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to accessorize the thing to the max. And I'm going to show you all the great accessories that I had. The one that's pretty cool is a water bottle that actually fits in this bag. Pretty cool. But let's just get started and let's walk through how I modified this bag for saltwater application. Alright, the first thing we're going to do to this pack is we're going to add some drainage holes to it. We're going to make some holes in this pack in the main compartment and then in the front compartment. And then we're going to use these grommets. You can find these kits anywhere online. They come with the setter, the hole punch, and sometimes with the grommets itself. This is a 1/2 inch. I got this from Harbor Freight. This one I'm not actually going to use because it's a little bit lighter of a grommet, and I'm not sure if it's corrosion resistant. I have some brass ones, an older kit that I have. When you look for a kit, especially for the pack, don't get the plier ones. You won't be able to set it. You actually need setter base. They come smaller, but this one's a pretty nice size one. A whole bunch. And then the actual anvil. Oh, this is the anvil and this is the setter. And then here's the brass grommets. But this is the grommet you want to get, especially for fabric. Fabric tends to break apart as you cut it. There's ways you could fix that by burning material. You could actually burn like screwdriver, heat it up, and then rub it around, so that will fuse those fabric fibers together. But if you get these ones with the spur on it, that will hold the fabric very well. But all it is just making the holes where you want, laying it out. Let me show you an example. We'll use this one for an example. Just gonna lay that down in there. This little anvil piece holds different sizes. I think this is 3/8 size hole. And this, the curved piece going down. Hammer that down. That's it. Now we'll bring that, roll that edge over, and that will, the fabric will be in between there. That's what you have. So that's what we're going to do with this pack. Get these holes in so we have drainage. Get this new bag from MethodWorks. It is a fly fishing hip pack. It's pretty nice. It's got this waterproof construction. But my plan today is I'm going to actually convert this so I can use it for saltwater fishing. So let's get some marks on here. 6. Every 2 inches maybe. make some holes in here. Go. Here's my first hole. Alright, here's the finished packed. Just got done putting all the holes in. But I put in 5 holes in the main compartment. I could always add, there's spaces on both sides. And I put 2 in the front pocket. I think the front pocket is pretty much sealed. But just in case it gets any water, I put 2 holes in. I could always add more if I want, especially a center one. But yeah, really easy. Make sure you get the right grommets, the brass ones, and you'll be good to go for that salt water. Bag is starting to come together. Drain holes are in, and it looks really good. Now it's time to make some plug holders. I'm going to walk through the design and custom 3D print configuration that I use. I'll also show you how this simple 3D print design, you can set your own custom sizing and configuration for your own individual needs. The application I use is called FreeCAD. It's probably one of the easier 3D modeling tools out there. It's really based off creating a body. So we'll select that. And then you can create a sketch to create that body. Various planes that you could start off with. I like to use the XY plane. This is a very simple 3D design. And it's based off a shape, and we're going to use the circle. I'll select the circle, place it anywhere in this frame, and it doesn't have to be exact. But here, this is where we can actually center to this plane by highlighting it, and then there's a function that actually centers it to the plane. Now adding dimension, I just selected the circle. I know that what I want to start out with is around 75 millimeters. That's how round I want it, that circumference. We could always change that later. And then now we have this sketch. So to give it volume depth, we're going to actually, there's a function called padding. So we'll select that here, and that gives it just some depth, volume. And we can change that volume however much we want. Based off the measurements that I have, I want to be right around 7.5, 7.75. So I'm going to set it to, in millimeters, it's right around 190, 196. So I'll set that here. And I'll hit OK. Now that we have how tall it's going to be, the length, and it's one solid cylinder, we can start adding, taking away, but we have to work off a face. So the face that we want to do, we want to take away the inside of the cylinder. So we'll select the top face and create another sketch on that face. So here it is. We're looking at the very top. It's centered for us. We'll select the circle function again. design, put a circle in there, and then center that to that face, and then we'll create the actual dimension for that new circle, that new sketch. And I know my sides, I want them to be around 3 to 4 millimeters thick. So I'll just subtract that from the actual size of the circle, which I believe it was 75. We'll change that to 71 millimeters. And that will leave a little bit, 4 millimeters that we want to leave for the sides. So we have that new sketch on this circle, and we could close this out. Once we close that out, we can see that new sketch on this cylinder. And just as how we added volume, padded it up, we could also take away whatever we want. So we'll select that function to remove. And I know I was like at 190, 196. I'll leave a little bit for the bottom, about 4 millimeters. And I'll be able to cylinder that out. And what we have left here is basically our foundation for one of the tube plugs holders. And I'll show you in the actual 3D print application how we could change the size, add more cylinders, combine them. But here I'm just saving that design so we could actually bring that up in our 3D print application. The printer that I have is the FlashForge 85X. It has a print application called Orca FlashForge that we can use. So once that's saved, we'll open up Orca FlashForge, and we'll go ahead and pull that file up in this print application. So we'll select a new project. Here we'll see the FlashForge print table, and we just opened that up, that file, and now we have that cylinder ready to print. So here's the part where it gets pretty cool. I could start making clones of this and start adding it together. The way that works is, so I'm creating a clone. I'll create 2 clones in case you want to make 4, and it will print them out just like this if I left it. But I can move these around any way I want. I could add more, print 2, however where I feel like I want to do it for my design. But here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring them together by just overlapping them. You can either have them connecting, overlapping, but there's one more step that you need to do that in order to merge those together. So here I have this design of just 3 cones, 3 of the tubes together, but you could put it any way you want. I like this way, where there's a little bit of space in between, almost like a new holder for maybe like eels or smaller types of plugs. But you'll see I actually use that area to hold the hooks so they're not hanging off the sides and getting hooked up on the bag. So I'll select all 3 of these together, Control Select, and then I'll hit this assemble button, and that will tell the printer that this is all one piece. And as you can see, I'm moving it all around together, and that's how it will print it all together. So I'll center it to the print table however I want, and that's what it's going to look like when I print it. I'll hit the print application, slice the plate, and that will slice it, basically telling the printer how it should print from the plate up. It gives a little bit of support. It suggests a little bit of support. That will come off at the end, but that holds it on the plate. And here you can see it actually tells you the total time it takes to print this, about almost 6 hours, and the cost based off how much it cost me for my filament. And I think it's right around a little bit over $5. Next, we're going to print some tackle bins. The design process is very similar to the 2 plug holders we made earlier. The main difference is that instead of building around a circular pattern, we're using a square pattern. It's a simple design and easy to create for yourself. If you don't want to design one from scratch, there are thousands of pre-made models available online. I recommend checking out MakerWorld or Printables. They're both great resources for just about any 3D print design you can imagine. Now that we've modified this pack for jetty fishing, surf fishing, and back bay applications, the next step is putting everything together. I'll also be adding a few new accessories to make sure this pack has everything I need for a successful day of saltwater fishing. I'll cover that in a separate video, so I hope you'll check that one out as well. That wraps up this build. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe even picked up a few ideas for your own fishing pack. If you did, be sure to like the video, share it with a fellow angler, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.